Something's not right here. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Time for that weekly mod collection demo shop update. Let's get into things with Gothic Circus for a pretty staggering $4,000. This appears to be based on the standard 50s model that comes stock with the P90 pickups, but it has a really flat black look to the pickup covers and the pick guard. You've got this whole burgundy sparkle gray circus tent-like design. I enjoy that. Kind of reminds me of the Gibson Les Paul Jr., a 2018 guitar that I've been looking for that showed up at Guitar Center for $3,200 and I was an hour late. Somebody snapped it up. It's kind of a weird, ugly guitar that not everybody's gonna like, and this particular example wasn't the best. So if anybody's selling one of those for around that price, please let me know. I want one of those for my personal collection and to document. Back to the Circus one here, it appears the red has the color shifting effect. That's why I referred to it similar to that sparkling burgundy finish. But moving on to the face, very clear that this is a satin refin. And the back does not have the matching design, but everything including the back plates was sprayed over. But if you go to the headstock, you kind of have a circus stinger. And I'm not sure what all these lines are about, but it appears the red part is gloss, and then they sprayed this stuff over top of it. So it's kind of a gloss and satin guitar. And hey, they actually confirmed that in the description. They're getting pretty good at that. It reminds me of the DJ Ashba guitar. It had a very similar finish to it. Still looking for a home. I think I agree with the market on that one. It's cool, but $1,000 premium cool. We'll have to see if it speaks to somebody. But how about Marigold and Rod Sparkle? It's a Flying V custom with a really orange sparkle finish. Looks like we have a regular humbucker in the bridge, but they've got that unique radiator style pickup cover, but then a P94 in the neck. I like the way that looks with that pickup cover style because it almost looks like you could adjust these, like an EQ setting. That'd be a fun pickup design. They gave you a matching headstock and a complete matching back. And at $52.99, they downgraded you to a Gibson USA case, but hey, at least it's one of the limited edition money green versions. And hey, the weight wasn't too bad. But if you're not really looking to be that boisterous, here's Burnt Orange Sparkle on a Junior. A much more friendly $18.99 price point. I see sparkle in the title, but it's just not like super big metal glitter flake. This Junior would be great for some rockabilly. The back gets interesting. There's a fade going on the neck right there, where it transitions into the black, and that's where the name Burnt Orange comes from. I like that one. Not surprised it went. But now we have another one of the 80s Explorers in the mod collection. This time offered at about a $600 premium, they gave it a satin yellow finish. Feel like we need some black stripes or something put on it, Eddie Van Halen style. Although look at what they did for our tuners. We've got the metal keystone style. Those are interesting tuners. I don't think we've seen Gibson use those before, right? So they're Grover branded, but they've got like the Schaller jut out. Interesting. How do you guys feel about Key Lime Sparkle Burst? It's $3,300. It's not my favorite, but I've always just liked the way Key Lime pies look. I enjoy it. Although I would make the suggestion, let's put piercing white pickup rings on this because then it kind of looks like the whipped cream on top. I feel like this could have been a color that existed in the early 2000s as a small limited run, similar to Latte Cream and Gecko Burst. Yeah, that's right, that's a thing. And of course you have to have the matching graham cracker back. But what would have sold it for me is if they would have put a decal of the pie on the back. And it has like a little server on it taking a piece out. That would have made it. They certainly weren't looking for too much of a premium on that, so not surprised it found a new home. So everything's been pretty happy-go-lucky, nice, bright, vibrant this week, but then you get golden black licorice. It was listed at $5,100. I just thought this was an orange widow with the blacked out effect, and then they gave it the chrome hardware because look, TP6 tailpiece, knurled metal knobs, uncovered bridge pickup, a Rhythm Pro neck, and a 500T in the bridge. That's a bit different. Definitely a satin look. Says we've got a chambered body, so that's cool. Then I got to the headstock, saw all the usual stuff. Orange over the mother of pearl, orange binding. Whoa, wait. No, it's painted on binding. My questions are, A, does the binding still exist over the paint? And why would you just completely paint over the binding like that if you're going to take the time to put it on? Or B, was this an unbound custom? They were just toying with the idea of using paint to form it. Unbound customs do exist. Check out that weird abalone sparkle one we documented. However, I have not seen an unbound Les Paul custom headstock. If you look at it from the side, you can see that they did the paint along the edges as well, so there's no definitive answer for the headstock. But at least here, you can see where the binding actually is on the neck. You still have the fret nib. You can see where the binding truly ends and the neck begins. Sure enough, if you go back to the body, you can see it's that exact same effect. And it's also painted on the edges. And they did the same thing on the back. But they gave us fancy wiring for push-pull pots, showing it off with that clear backplate. and they equipped it with the Schaller style tuners. But it found a home. Unfortunately, no answers as to whether it actually had binding or not, because you could interpret this two different ways. The binding is the gold painted on, or the binding is gold painted. But now it's time to get back to bright. Techno Pink Metallic, 50 standard. This is one for the lefties out there. Nice, vibrant, in your face. Although not too crazy with your headstock. And you might notice, that's upside down. That's because it's a lefty, but it also seems to not have been put in the right spot at all. When you flip it over to the back, it looks like maybe a black back and then more of a dark backed neck that then gets an extended pink stinger. It's an interesting blending of colors. And we can follow that up with Grapeberry Burst. Pretty much no premium associated with that. It's kind of a cool color scheme. I mean, it's not too different. I like the streaky Ebony fretboard, but there's red grapes, black grapes, green grapes, and some grapes that are in between, but I would like to see a series of those. Wine enthusiasts would love that. And then, of course, the back. It's red. Looks like they just left that part alone. Then Ice Pop Blue Top is 3100. I know it's some sort of a Les Paul standard, but it really starts to look like one of those lower end tributes. So we've got the nice baby pastel blue here, black reflector knobs, interesting choice, cream plastics, no poker chip. And the pre-war Gibson decal, it's cool, but I would love to see them inlay it in mother of pearl. There are a few modern day models out there with that. So if you're like me and you don't really prefer the decals over the mother of pearl when it's a model that should have the pearl, keep in mind, it's probably just under the paint. It'll probably show its face one day as witness lines, and then it'll be fun. Hey, speaking of witness lines, there you go. There's your Les Paul model silk screen that just got painted over. You can still see it in the light. But then surprisingly enough, the back is like a copper metallic color. And then we can end it off with probably one of the more tame offerings this week. It's just one of the Blueberry Fade SG Moderns done up in a satin finish, and they give you a discount at $2,500. I will make the argument though, this looks incredibly good. It's got such wide flame, it doesn't matter that it's not gloss and you can't see it move as much. Wow, those controls look really crammed for some reason. I guess I've never really noticed that about this model. Doesn't help that we have these giant UFO style ones either. And the back was done up the same in satin. Now let's hop over to the mod collection on the EU side of things. We had a pretty standard refin in Sapphire Metallic. Not the worst price ever. It's a nice striking finish. If it appeals to you, fantastic. I have to be nice because the guy who bought this one sent me an email all excited about it. But no, that's pretty much how I feel. I think in the early 2000s, there was a run of Sapphire SGs, and those are pretty cool. So this is just a more readily available version of that. And they did the whole thing and didn't price it up to wazoo, so why not? But now we've got 335 figured stained brown. Looks more like stained black to me, but if we adjust the contrast, you can see, yes, it is a very dark brown color. Then you have kind of a transition into the lighter brown on the back. I bet that one might look better in person. And then Midnight Meadow was my choice out of the three on a standard 50s. It's just kind of a dark green, nearly black. The chrome hardware works really well with that hue. And then you do have like a brownish red burst on the back and on the neck. But before we get to the demo shops, Gibson's having a sale on their custom color series. I think that tells us which colors don't sell that well for them. So you can save $300 on the Inverness Green plain tops, 50s and 60s standards. Surprisingly, the Sparkling Burgundies, come on guys. The Sparkling Burgundy was my favorite of the custom color series in person. They just look great. They need to revise their photos, I think. Maybe then they'll sell better online. Figure cherries are down $200. Those are another one that I thought was really nice. Now the translucent oxblood, I can understand that one. They're a little bit too dark sometimes. Why do you want to pay for the figuring if you can't really see it? And then the fuchsia, yeah, I get it. That's kind of a unique color. There's only so many people who would want that. And then the cardinal red. Everything else seems to be the same price yet. The UK demo shop and Netherlands side, no updates again for a whole month now. But the USA side, let's talk about that. So you guys remember those prototypes? I had received an email from Reverb saying Gibson cannot fulfill this order within the 3-day promised time frame. They are going to ship it, but we have given them an extension. So we'll see that review eventually. It appears they have them, but there's some sort of a story. Maybe we'll figure it out. Now let's get into this week's offerings. What stood out to me is there was another one of the 80s Explorers, which means we should see another batch come soon. So don't worry, my two new guitar dayers, we're still waiting on them. But this one got modified to gold hardware. Personally, I just don't think it works as good as the chrome in this particular case. It looks just like the 70s Explorer, kind of. But this one got rejected due to a big chip in the finish right there. but not a bad price at $2,200. Next up, an interesting 57 darkback gold top. Reminded me of something Slash would play, but hey, are you guys seeing that too? Is that a crazy flame top under there that you can see? Or is that just like an artifact in the finish? I don't know. I think I see the flame top. I mean, the back's normal. They forgot the Les Paul silk screen. They don't mention anything about the uneven finish on the top or being able to see the flame through it, but I think that might be what that is. All of a sudden, not surprised that it sold. This one I saved because whenever you look at a lefty SG, it becomes ever apparent that it is not a symmetrical guitar. And then you realize just how slanted regular bridges are. This 335 for being a Satin has an awesome wide top. I couldn't even tell it was actually the Satin finish until I got to the back of the neck. This J185 has the cool cross inlays. And lastly, a nicely figured 335 in 60s cherry. Alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed the recap. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day, and you might even enjoy this next one.